thanks. How are you, Kerry?
I'm doing okay too. I'm doing okay. Feeling a little
I can't
shiny.
get, I can't get comfy. You feel shiny, that's good. I can't get comfy today.
Uh-oh.
Sitting on a mattress on the floor, so it's
Oh,
not very comfortable.
I know you and your gypsy ways.
I know, yeah. Right.
Okay,
Okay, so, yeah.
today another big guest. I mean, like
Um,
big. Like we're talking about,
literally
yeah.
big.
We got to discuss about if this size matters or not, like we were discussing earlier. Allison, we have today with us the planet Mars.
We do. We
Hi,
do.
Mars.
Uh,
Okay, lay it on us.
I just have to, with Gaia and with Nibiru, I had to wait for them to rise up. I think I've got to do the same thing here
Okay.
as well. Let her come in. She's like, I'm ready.
So you mentioned before.
The,
Go ahead.
the funny thing for me is that they just sound like regular spirits, right? And I thought like that kind of throws me for six because what does a planet sound like?
Yeah, what does
You
a
know?
planet sound like? You mentioned that this had kind of a playful sense about it. Is that right?
Yes, she's showing me racing cars. She's that playful. She's
Ka-chow.
like 1950s racing cars, where they put the little numbers on front, the little MGs, and they're zipping around. That's what she's showing me pictures of at the moment. So she's a zippy little thing, a big thing, but little, obviously. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, Mars. That's so funny. Hi, Mars. Mars.
I have to do
So
this. I
weird.
have to do this at you, apparently. I have to wave at you like this, okay?
Really?
She's very playful, yes. Yeah. I don't know. I think she's just being silly. So.
I thought maybe she sent me some energy because I do weird hand stuff.
Yeah. 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 She's very playful, very childlike to me. Just wants to have fun.
Right. Well,
Sorry, I've got something in.
she sounds like our kind of girl then.
She is our kind of girl, she says. So she's shiny. She says she is shiny material.
Wow. Well, Mars, I don't know anything about you, except I did read on the internet, and the internet never lies, that I'm on the wrong planet because if I went and lived on your planet, I'd only weigh like 87 pounds.
Yeah, absolutely, because she says she's smaller than Earth, so therefore the gravitational effects are slightly different, and it does,
Instagram.
but it doesn't. It's not your weight that it affects; it's
I
your
know.
mass, apparently.
Just the numbers on the scale. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I'll just pull the scale down, and I'll never know the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what is what?
It's, well, she says it's all about how much gravity affects your the mass of your body moving through gravity is determines what your weight is, even though that's not entirely accurate. That humans have everything has to be put into little boxes, so
Yep.
um, humans get a bit confused with mass and weight, apparently, because they are slightly different things. But the numbers on the scale are determined by the gravitational force of the planet. So there you go.
Okay. So next time I get on, I'll check out my gravitational force as opposed to my weight.
She said stand on your tippy toes because that will actually shift your own gravitational field, and it will change the numbers. It'll confuse the scales if you do
I love it. I'm getting dieting tips from Mars.
that. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right, Mars.
Yeah.
Do you have any? Do you have life
She's
on
showing
you?
me pictures of Cinderella dancing now. You know this Cinderella,
She's
Walt Disney Cinderella in that beautiful blue dress, the sparkly blue. She's showing me pictures of that now. So she's a very happy girl.
she
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that interesting? Wow, she's gonna come up with some really good images for you.
She's
Mars.
Cinderella because she gets to go to the ball today, the shiny show.
Oh my god. Oh, I wish I had my tiara right now. I'd stick it right on my head. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love that. She's at the ball. I love that.
She said, "Do you realise this is the first time she's ever actually been interviewed, and that's why it's so exciting for her."
No kidding.
As a planet. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's one of the questions. Can you tell us what else you
Yeah.
are?
Um, wow. She shows me infinity. All right. As like Mars is there, but then there's a field around it. And when I say field, it's like a slight energy. It's kind of like I see spirits sometimes, like a wispy, smoky energy, and it just goes on and on and on forever and ever and ever. And in the horizon, there's this beautiful like pink lull, like just before dusk, it goes slightly pink, in the sky.
Yes.
But it's all dark. So this is her interpretation of infinity, and that's what she is. So that's what she is. Infinite.
Huh. All right. Because I'm thinking, am I infinite too? I might be, but is that what she means? And if she
She says,
means
yes, you are.
that's so cool. Okay, well,
Yes, you are.
I love that. I love that because nobody's ever described infinity. But I'm greedy and I want to know what else you are.
I think we did get infinity off one other spirit. I can't remember what it was, but I do remember seeing infinity once before. But this is just a slightly different take on that.
I bet,
Colors.
yeah, I was going to say, I bet that other one wasn't pink.
Yeah.
That's all the difference.
I tell you what, if the audience watching can imagine a still pool of water at night time, so you can just see the light glistening on it, going on and on and on forever, and on the horizon, a beautiful like arc of pink light and a dark sky, right? So that's her interpretation of infinity. That's what I can see.
Aw.
I'm getting pins and needles in my foot sitting on my leg.
Uh-oh. I don't like that. Well, so
Right.
because it's incarnating into a planet that's ginormous. Are you what? How much of Source is like taken off in order to be able to pull that off? Does it take a drop, or does it take more energy or something? I don't even have the vocabulary, but I think you understand.
Well, the source is infinite. So when you have an infinite source, then how long is a piece of string when you take something away from it? And you cannot take something away from source without adding something to it, because once a part of source has a new idea, that becomes part of the greater source, therefore it adds to it.
Okay.
So
Oh,
that's an
I get
interesting
that.
little cryptic, but yeah, I get it.
No,
Yeah.
sometimes that stuff I have to go back and watch, but that one fell into place. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's conceivable that not only am I all these thousands of other things all over the place, that I am a planet somewhere too, and it's no different. Or is that the
Well, she said we're all joined by feelers, like energetic feelers, like lines of energy. And she said, if anybody's thinking string theory, that's not it. Don't think string theory. It's lines of energy. Nothing is disconnected. Nothing. Every single being, person, planet, rock, star, everything you could mention is all connected by lines of energy. Right? It's just the only difference is how maybe how thin those lines are. So the further away you move from primary source, it might get thinner,
Okay.
and the closer you get, the more denser it gets. So that's the only real difference. The truth is, we are basically one great big giant amoeba. She likes that word.
I like that word too.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let me ask this then, because I know, I get infinity. I get that you're a planet for like so long. I'm just a human for like 80 years or whatever. Then I get to go home. Do you go home? I mean, how long is a planet's life? What kind of commitment is that to take on?
Well, you don't take it on as a time-based. It's not timeshare. It's not timeshare condominium.
That's a ripoff anyway.
Yeah. She says you take it on just knowing that you're going to be there for as long as you need to be. You don't necessarily have to occupy a planetary body until the planet becomes no more, like a human life does. A human life ends when the body dies, and then you go back to the source. But with a planet, it's different because there really is no end to it. An ending might come as, say, something coming into the system and obliterating it. It would have to be a fairly massive
Right.
catastrophe, or getting swallowed up by a ball of energy such as the sun.
Uh-huh.
There are a lot of planets that will reintegrate back into that source energy, which is, physical energy of the sunlight. She's just showing me a massive star, like engulfing things and taking it back in. That could be considered the human equivalent of a physical death.
Right.
And in which case, all that physical matter is getting recycled into something else. And then you can go away or you can stay with it. You can actually follow that process through, become part of the star's energy, and you merge into one, like, super higher self, right? If you
Wow.
like, right? You can do that. And, when you think about it, prime source energy that's really all it is just a super higher self,
Right.
right? It is the ultimate higher self.
Yes.
Um, And so there is no definitive answer to that, because you really don't end unless something catastrophic happens. And because you know that the longevity of the planet that you're occupying does, in your terms, stretch out for, it could be eons,
Right.
then you're aware that at some point you could get swallowed up by a sun, or you could get hit by a giant asteroid, giant meteorite, or fall into a planet's gravity. All sorts of things can happen, but it's unlikely that it's going to happen as fast as what your existence does. And so you just stay as long as you need to. And if you want to walk out halfway through because you're bored of following, a track around space, and that's fine too. You just decide to go, and somebody else comes in. There is a queue for planetary existences. It's a very interesting way to be. A very interesting life to live.
I was going to ask, do you have like some version of walk-ins? And there it is. How
Yes,
interesting.
absolutely. Yeah, yes. If
So,
if I wanted to go now, I could go, and somebody else would be here in a heartbeat. Probably the other difference about that to being a human incarnation is that we know about it. Whereas often humans have a walk-in experience and they don't know about it, not at the human level, but at the energetic level, everything is known. But yeah, so that's the other difference.
so being on Earth right now, we get a little stressed out. So maybe that's why we have like relatively speaking short lifespans. But is being a planet like a cushy life? Is it a stressful life? What's it like being a planet? And am I generalizing?
Oh. Well, she said, no, you're not generalizing it. It is a really beautiful, tranquil experience that you treasure. Oh, she's loving it, like the emotion. It is. There are no human words to describe how it feels to occupy a large body in a spatial environment, and watch as eons pass by in your language, and see things change, and see how God source, how he creates. How can you can, I said get bored, but it's unlikely you'll ever get bored with that experience. I could never get bored with this experience. I learn something new every second. Every second I exist in this form, I learn something new.
Wow, I got feely with that one too. I think she gave me a little
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Her energy is tingling. My whole body is tingling. I've got a slightly funny taste in my mouth. It feels metallic.
Ugh.
Yeah.
we're like 3 for 3. All the planets seem to rave about being a planet. I think I might have to try that out for
Yeah,
a while.
I want to be a planet. One day I want to be a planet. Oh, I love her energy. It's quite different to the other energies, though. It's
Uh-huh.
quite different to Gaia and Nibiru. It feels more magnetic, strong. I feel strong magnetic feels, and I feel like I can taste iron, like metallic taste. Yeah.
Well, Miss Mars, why is that? Are you
She
metallic,
likes that, Miss
Miss
Mars.
Mars?
Miss Mars, she said that makes me sound like I'm on the catwalk. I'm on the planet cat.
You are, you are. You're a star. No, you're a planet. A star planet.
Yeah. She said she has been a star. She has been a
Oh,
star. Yeah, that was an interesting experience too. So anybody can be anything. It's entirely up to you what you do with the life that is given to you by Prime Source, by the super higher self. There are no restrictions.
well, can you tell me your atmosphere, your planet, your do you have life, ecosystems, any of that stuff, or have you ever?
Well, I don't have an ecosystem as you're aware of an ecosystem, right? Human scientists tend to describe my planet's surface as barren, but it's not. There are microorganisms on the surface, on my surface. There is water, both underneath the ground, water runs underneath that you can't see, and there is icy poles. The icy poles are full of I think it's nitrogen. I think she's trying to give me nitrogen. Don't hold me to that,
Promise.
um, because we're into getting into science stuff again. And uh, nitrogen. I think it's nitrogen, or is it hydrogen? She's not showing me. She's just like I'm trying to extrapolate a chemical name out of the energy. Could be
Good
hydrogen.
luck.
Yeah.
How you do
Yeah.
that sometimes.
Okay. So I've got the periodic chart floating around in front of me, and it's not clear. Um, all right. So that's ice. D- She called it dry ice. It's like a dry ice. It's like compressed. Um, right. So there's other things in there. Um, carbon, carbon, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide. This is atmosphere, I think. But it's not an oxygen mix like Earth is. There's a small amount of oxygen in the atmosphere, but there is a lot of heavy, what we would call toxic chemicals, like the carbon dioxide. She shows me like the tailpipe of a car.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff that comes out of the back of the car that's in the atmosphere. Uh, you can't breathe it. It's not breathable. Not you. But there are ways to live on the surface of Mars where you can tolerate the atmospheric conditions, but we're not there yet. As a whole, we're not there yet. Scientifically advanced enough for that to be able to do that.
So,
Um, and also the gravity would affect us quite badly because our bones would get really brittle because they wouldn't be getting the same amount of exercise. They're designed for a denser environment, so we wouldn't be able to walk around on it without a fairly catastrophic effect on us. Um, but we could build domes and live in those. And she says, "You are welcome." We'll
are you
just hop on the
sure?
next spaceship and we'll just build a dome on Mars.
I'll see you next
She's
week,
laughing.
Miss Mars.
Yeah.
Aw, she's funny.
she's she's gonna be the next big hotspot for humans, she says.
Oh my God, she's cute.
Last Mars Vegas.
There you go. Oh, you're so funny, girl. Okay, so So you said yeah. So, what year are we going to come hang out on you? What Earth year do we check out Mars?
I keep asking if there's anybody there now from Earth,
Uh-huh.
and she's been very coy about that. But she gives me 2017 as being a year that there will be humans on Mars that we're all aware of,
What?
right?
Like next year,
Um,
2017?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But I don't feel like it's NASA or anything like that orientated. I think it's like some other. It feels
Okay.
like some other organization that's going to be there.
Interesting.
Um, I need to explore this. 2017. She said it's not such a wild idea because you're you have got people. There are secrets. There are secrets of humans on Mars, which she doesn't feel like it's her place to talk about, right?
Oh, okay. Don't get me in
Um,
trouble, girlfriend.
yeah. So, but she says 2017 will things will open up for us big time
Wow.
in the solar system, the neighborhood, the local neighborhood.
Well,
Yeah.
17's my number. It's going to be a exciting year next year for Earth, isn't it, Miss Mars?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, she's
Okay.
showing me that there's like there's pockets. I'm not sure whether it's underground or whether they're in domes or what, artificial habitation. But I can see there are things growing, but they don't look like they're growing out of the red stuff on the surface. They look like they're growing in some kind of
Like a greenhouse,
enclosure.
maybe? Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Interesting, Allison. That's so cool. Well,
Yeah.
humans, we like to label things, as you know. What dimension would we consider that you exist in?
Well, as humans, you would consider that I live in the third dimension, but I, like everybody else, can exist in a multi-dimensional environment, right?
Okay.
So, vibrationally, me as a spirit,
Uh-huh.
she's up
Okay.
higher, much higher. But the physical body of Mars is dimensional. But it has parts of it which what we call alien beings, non-Earth terrestrial beings, have they create all higher dimensional environments so that they can hide from us, so they can't be seen. So they actually force pockets of Mars to exist in different dimensional planes so that they are hidden, right? This is the technology that's actually available in the greater community. Just we just not there yet, right? So I feel like I just fell into like a
So there's
sci-fi movie.
Martians, but they live in pockets of different dimensions.
Well, they don't call themselves Martians. We need to know if she's got natives like Aboriginals. Are there Mars Aboriginals?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, there are native Martian Aboriginals that have been there for eons and eons, and they live below the surface.
Huh.
But they're the ones she's talking about that are creating these
Yes.
dimensional pockets are
Yeah.
coming from other places. But her own kind, they live in tunnels below the surface because the surface is very hostile. It's a hostile environment. It's not easy to live on the surface unless you have the technology. And the people that she shows me that live under the ground, they don't seem like they're an advanced
Okay.
race to me. I
She's
could
just
be
like
wrong.
anticipating everything that's going in here.
Is she? Right.
Yes. Yes.
I can see them. I can see them under, and they are actually red skinned, red-skinned people, right? So same color as the planet's surface. But the planet's surface is not as red as what we're being led to believe it is,
Okay.
right? It's not as red. Um, there's a that's what we get shown oxidization, right? Which it makes it look red, and through the atmosphere it makes it look. There's a lot of red in the, but when you're actually on the surface, she said it's not as red um, as what we've been shown, and that's just because our technology
Okay.
is just picks up certain colors, yeah. But I said, do her native Aboriginal people are they an advanced race? And she said that they are a subterranean dweller, and have been there for a very long time, and they are advanced in terms of their spiritual relationship with the land. The problem with asking that question, she says, is because we equate development with technology,
Yes.
right? And that's the wrong way to go about it. So they are very developed in terms of living with the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they don't have they don't they don't have technology that we can even understand. So what I look at when I say they don't look
Right.
technological advance is because I'm not even recognizing what they are, right? Because it's
Right.
so far beyond what I know as a human, right? So um, they grow they grow food under the surface. There's natural light sources. She said, think of her as a mini Nibiru,
Okay.
basically a mini Nibiru, right? Very similar. She shows me under the surface there's a lot of caves, and there's like it's natural light under there. Um, but yeah, they're strange little beings. They're a bit skinny. They don't look like a grey, the grey with the
Right.
funny bug-shaped heads. They don't look like that. They're quite scrawny and thin. Uh, Heads are not as big as that. And well, I can't even see that they're wearing clothes. They just look like all red-skinned
Are they
people.
are they like are they people? I mean, are they like animals? I don't.
Or right. So let's ask her that. Are they? What are they more like, an animal or a? Again, we're using terms
Yes.
to try and define something into a category because that's what we've always been taught to do,
Right.
and that's what our language is geared up to do, is to assume that everything either fits into the animal, mineral, or vegetable,
Right.
and that is not the right way to assess what they are either. They are um, the physical representation the of her. Um,
Oh.
each with their own individual personality as an incarnation, something that you can incarnate as well if you want to have that experience. Um, but no, they are neither.
Okay.
They don't fit into humans' interpretations of what it means to be an incarnation. They
Okay.
are slightly different, yeah, and they don't really get involved with anybody on the surface. They're not interested. They just want to have their own little enclave, their existence beneath the surface, and they're happy with that. It is nothing like they've no desires to, yeah, go to the beach or a desire to go to restaurants to entertain themselves. They don't need to work to get money.
Okay.
They exist in harmony with the planet, and by creating their own food and that sort of thing. And it's a very tranquil existence.
And
Yeah.
spiritually speaking, what does a soul hope to gain from living a life, that kind of life? What kind of things does a soul bring back?
Well, it's just different. It's just a different type of
Okay,
existence
just variety maybe.
variety.
Okay.
On on Earth, we tend to see everything as being polar opposites, so that there is always a night and day, a black and white, a duality.
Right.
We see things as duality, and not every planet is like that. Not every ecosystem is like that. The the ultimate in the development of a species is to reach a state of equilibrium where you live in harmony with your brethren and the environment around you. And Earth hasn't done that yet. Um, it's it's had those things in the past. Mars and the 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 beings that have lived on Earth in the past have communicated, have integrated with each other, and then, for whatever reason, cataclysms happen, things change. That is no longer the case. So that's Earth is not unique. It's not a unique planet. There are other planets which are very similar that have the duality. In fact, there are some that are even more extreme. And, then it also goes in the other direction where planets, the ecosystem, the beings upon it have reached a state of, happiness where they are just happy to exist and have that as an experience.
Does that sound? That sounds like your beings. Are they content? Is that fair?
Very much so. Very much so.
Then I know you
That,
will
and
say
they,
that they have evolved and are more advanced than we are, if that's the case. It's my opinion.
she said, yeah, and it's understandable that you would make that assessment or judgment because that's what you are striving for yourself. But is it if you want to have an experience on Earth in a duopoly, in a situation where things are harsh or opposite or extreme, that's not really any less advanced. It's just different.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
so you can't really put a judgment on it,
Right. Okay.
because yeah, these are just ways to experience who you are. Right? That's all they are. They're just ways to experience who they are. It's only when you come into the incarnation do you start to adopt these ideas, these moralities, these notions and philosophies that you can, that everything must be judged at higher, lower, left, right in this box or whatever it is. And there's a lot to be gained from that as a spirit. Your spirit really does advance a long way very quickly on planet Earth. It really is one of those places, a fast track, I guess, to um, soul soul advancement.
Oh, that's good to know. And she's like, Miss Mars, you're setting me straight so many different times in this, but you're doing it in a really good, constructive way. Because I'm always thinking to
Yeah,
myself that I can take criticism, just be nice about it. And I don't mean to say that you're criticizing, but you're really educating and showing me some stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah.
thanks.
She's awesome.
Um, let's see. Oh, I had a question from somebody. One of our shiny guests wanted to know how beings on your planet do. Well, I don't. Can I call them Martians? I'm gonna call your people Martians unless you have another name for them.
You can call them Miss Martians.
Miss Martians. Little Miss Martians. Well, how do they reproduce? How does that happen on your planet?
um,
On
what does osmosis mean?
Oh my gosh! All I know is that when you have it reversed, your water's clean.
Right. Okay.
The end.
Right. I don't know if that's what she means, but it feels like they seem to. merge, as she shows me, like that. It's like they're physical merging.
Okay.
God, I'm gonna have trouble describing this.
I'm sorry, Allison.
It's it's like their energy is like they could shapeshift, and and she keeps showing me they come together, and their physical bodies seem to come together as one unit, and then something like that. It's really strange. Like, when you stuck something sticks together like mud, you get
Squirt, squelch,
right.
squirt, squelch, squirt. Yep.
Yeah, but they seem to merge into, like, not fully merge into each other. They don't become one being, but they merge together. And
I don't know if that's sexy or not. I can't decide.
yeah, I it's not sexy to me.
Squelch.
It's a bit, and the mingling of cells, right? The pushing together of the two beings actually causes um, cells to be created, to be
Wow.
duplicated, multiplied.
Okay.
And oh my goodness, then she shows me these. So they kind of, it's like spores, like spawning,
Okay.
spawning. Yeah.
Like,
And they get left behind. So these beings are somewhere between plant and human for us, I guess.
right?
I'm just asking her, am I interpreting this correctly, what I'm seeing? She says, yes, you're doing well, because it's so far removed from anything I've.
You're doing really good.
They kind of just, as they come together, they squish together, and that causes a fertilization of cells, I suppose. And then they they just seem to fall out as
Okay.
cells, and I said, what happens to them then? Well, they they grow, I think.
I'm getting
Yeah.
an image of, remember on Gremlins, when you get the little guy, wet at night, all the things pop off of him, and then they become their own little gremlins.
Oh dear. Maybe that's where the osmosis came in. Right.
You'll have to watch that movie,
Um,
Miss Mars. It's cute. You'll like it.
yeah. The thing that I can see, this cell, it's got like a white outer layer, then it's got like a fleshy bit, and then it looks like there's some kind of seedy thing. But when you see you get a cross section of a baby in the tummy,
Hmm.
right? Right. But imagine that, but just as a cell, as like
Okay.
an independent cell. How do they grow from there? Oh, right. So I didn't see before is they remain attached. It's like they've got an outside womb almost, um, an external womb. It's very strange. God, I hope I'm interpreting this correctly.
Double dog
Uh,
dare somebody to challenge you on it. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
You go
So
on and you ask
yeah,
Mars, and you get the other story.
go ask him yourself. Yeah. Right. So that's what it is. It's like a womb type thing, and then this thing grows inside it. Um, how does it get out? Well, they break it open. They break it open, and out pops a new Martian.
Oh my gosh, it's so weird. And this
5 months. It takes five
gestation.
months. Let's say,
And
yeah.
then are they babies? Do they have to nurture their babies?
They grow very fast. She says they grow very fast. Um, they like very fast. She just showed me one that literally becoming from this tiny little, what we would call a child, to an adult in a very short space of time. Like basically watering a plant and it grows that kind of fast. So I said, how often does this take place? It doesn't. It doesn't take place very often. It doesn't need to. Um, am I getting this right, Miss Mars? You're doing. She keeps saying you're doing good. You're doing good. All right. Okay. All right. Next question. Hopefully that covers everything.
Yeah, that was so interesting. Well, Miss Mars, I think I'm out of my questions that I had written down. I could go some more. I got more questions lined up, but I'd like to know if there's you're just so interesting. So I invite you to share something that you think might wow us. Turning the tables and putting it on you.
She said the question about size. The
Oh
question about
yeah.
size. That
Okay,
was a
yeah.
good one. Right. Yeah.
Does size matter?
Um, does size matter? Um, you really need to incarnate as a planet. You really need to have had a lot of experience, because experience is what makes you expand, and experience is all important when it comes to incarnating as a planet. So really, could you just be created from source and pop into a planet? Well, you could. There's no reason why you couldn't. There's no reason. You can do whatever you want whenever you want. But it's good to have experience, like lots of experience, like having many other types of incarnations prior, so that you understand the life forms that are going to be living on you. You know, you've got to have an outlook of understanding about how the whole system works. The system, how God source created the life cycle.
Okay.
She's talking about the life cycle of the plants and animals and beings that occupy your space. It's no good being a grumbly spirit in a planet. You know, you can't get pissed off as a planet. You really have to be emotionally grounded to do it. You can do it from any point in your existence. There's no reason why you can't. But it's better if you have that experience first, right? An understanding of how the universe works, that you've taken the time to expand your knowledge, tapping into the vastness of prime source energy.
So expansion comes from, because we worked on expansion when we were with Allison and Eric in the UK. That was the theme of your day, Allison. So one way to achieve expansion is through many incarnations then, and just experience all over the place then.
Yeah. But there are those that choose not to incarnate. They choose to experience life as, let's say, Abraham does. She talks about
Okay.
Abraham. Like they prefer to experience their existence from a non-physical point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So there are spirits that will just do that, and they will never incarnate, or just never incarnate. And
So Abraham, though,
she's I
she's,
don't know what she's trying to get at here. She says, look at when Britain and France and Spain were all vying for different parts of the planet, right? And then England decided that they were going to take all their criminals and send them to America. And then a couple of hundred years later, they did the same thing with Australia. Look at it like that, right? This is all about soul advancement of it. Now, had they done it the right way around, they would have left all the criminals in England and gone to America.
yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? You guys stay in this dirty used place. I'm going to the new house.
Yeah.
Going without the cat pee
Yeah.
smell.
You can look at these things in that way. You can always find world real world examples of what it
Yeah.
means to be in spirit, the different ways. So So what she was trying to say is that when we incarnated on Earth, we were the criminals. And
Yes, it's you. Oh,
yeah,
Miss Mars. She's got our number.
so yeah, so that's a real world example, bringing it down. So, yeah.
We got sit here to straighten us out. Well, that's funny.
Yeah. Mm.
All right, Miss
Yeah.
Mars. Thank you for coming and being your shiny self. You gave us so much information. People are going to love this one. Thank you.
Well, that's good. I'm very proud of myself. My very first interview.
You did great.
So hopefully there'll be more. I'll be happy to talk to anybody who wants to call. Anybody who wants to call, be more than happy to talk to them. So they can all channel me. I am, I am as wise as all the other beings that you channel on Earth. That you call them ascended beings, but strangely enough, people don't look to the planets for wisdom and information, and we are just as accessible as an archangel or a Palladian or any of those what you call alien beings.
Do you have a best friend planet that we should call on next?
Well, she's pretty good friends with Earth, which we've already done,
Uh-huh.
and she loves Jupiter. She calls Jupiter like a big brother, feels like a
Oh,
big brother, and but she has no preference.
all
She's
right.
like everybody. Yeah,
We're all her
they're
friends.
all as amazing as each other. She's so joyful. Yeah.
Oh,
This smile, this is her. My cheeks are actually feel like they're glowing.
I'm like frozen in a
So
smile too. This has been a really
yeah,
happy, uplifting interview. I think
it has, hasn't it?
she sent me some covert juju, I bet. Thank you, Miss Mars, for making me cheer up. Well, I was okay, but I'm extra shiny.
You're welcome. Well, absolutely welcome. Thank you so much for even just thinking about doing this. What an amazing, an amazing team you have access to that help you with these thoughts, doing these things.
God, I'd like
So,
to get a peek at that team. All right. Okay, Miss Mars and Miss Allison, I'm going to wrap this up.
okay.
AscendingThePath.com, SilverLightingHealings.com, EricMedusDownUnder.com. Thank you for watching. Like and share. I'll talk to you soon, Allison. I love you. Bye.
Love you.
Mars.
Bye.
Full sense about it. Is that right?
She's showing me racing cars. She's that playful. She's
Ka-chow.
like 1950s racing cars, where they put the little numbers on the front, the little MGs, and they're zipping around. That's what she's showing me pictures of at the moment. So she's a zippy little thing, a big thing, but little, obviously. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, Mars. That's so funny. Hi, Mars. Mars.
I have to
It's
do
so
this. I
weird.
have to do this at you, apparently. I have to wave at you like this, okay?
Really?
She's very playful, yes. Yeah. I don't know. I think she's just being silly. So.
I thought maybe she sent me some energy because I do weird hand stuff.
Yeah. 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 She's very playful, very childlike to me. Like just wants to have fun.
All right. Well,
Sorry, I've got something in.
she sounds like our kind of girl then.
She is our kind of girl, she says. So she's shiny. She says she is shiny material.
Wow. Well, Mars, I don't know anything about you except I did read on the internet, and the internet never lies, that I'm on the wrong planet because if I went and lived on your planet, I'd only weigh like 87 pounds.
Yeah, absolutely, because she says she's smaller than that. Absolutely.
All right, Mars.
Yeah.
Do you have any? Do you have life?
She's showing me pictures of Cinderella dancing now. This Cinderella,
She's.
Walt Disney Cinderella in that beautiful blue dress, the sparkly blue. She's showing me pictures of that now. So she's a very happy girl.
She really
Yeah.
is. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Isn't that interesting? Wow. wow, she's going to come up with some really good images for you.
She's
Mars.
Cinderella because she gets to go to the ball today, the shiny show.
Oh my god! Oh, I wish I had my tiara right now. I'd stick it right on my head. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love that. She's at the ball. I love that.
She said, "Do you realise this is the first time she's ever actually been interviewed, and that's why it's so exciting for her."
Yeah, no kidding.
As a planet. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's one of the questions. Can you tell us what else you are?
Yeah. Wow. She shows me infinity. All right. As like Mars is there, but then there's a field around it, and when I say field, it's like a slight energy. It's kind of like I see spirits sometimes, like a wispy, smoky energy, and it just goes on and on and on Earth. So therefore, the gravitational effects are slightly different, and
Instant
it
weight
does,
loss.
but it doesn't. It's not your weight that it affects; it's
I
your
know.
mass, apparently.
Just the numbers on the scale. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I'll just pull the scale down, and I'll never know the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what is what?
It's, well, she says it's all about how much gravity affects your the mass of your body moving through gravity is determines what your weight is, even though that's not entirely accurate. Humans have everything has to be put into little boxes, so
Yep.
um, humans get a bit confused with mass and weight, apparently, because they are slightly different things. But the numbers on the scale are determined by the gravitational force of the planet. So there you go.
Okay. So next time I get on, I'll check out my gravitational force as opposed to my weight.
She said, stand on your tippy toes because that will actually shift your own gravitational field, and it will change the numbers. It'll confuse the scales if you do.
I love it. I'm getting dieting tips from Mars.
Yeah, yeah, forever and ever and ever. And in the horizon, there's this beautiful like pink lull, like just before dusk, it goes slightly pink, in the sky.
Yes.
But it's all dark. So this is her interpretation of infinity, and that's what she is. So that's what she is, infinite.
Huh. All right. Because I'm thinking, am I infinite too? I might be, but is that what she means? And is
She
she
says, yes, you are.
That's so cool. Okay, well,
Yes, you are.
I love that. I love that because nobody's ever described infinity. But I'm greedy and I want to know what else you are.
I think we did get infinity off one other spirit. I can't remember what it was, but I do remember seeing infinity once before. But this is just a slightly different take on that.
I
Colors.
bet, yeah, I was going to say, I bet that other one wasn't pink.
Yeah.
That's all the difference.
I'll tell you what, if the audience watching can imagine a still pool of water at night time, so you can just see the light glistening on it, going on and on and on forever, and on the horizon, a beautiful like arc of pink light and a dark sky, right? So that's her interpretation of infinity. That's what I can see.
Aw.
Mm.
G'day, Allison. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Carrie?
I'm doing okay too. I'm doing okay. Feeling a little
I
shiny.
can't get comfy. You feel shiny, that's good. I can't get comfy today.
Uh-oh.
Sitting on a mattress on the floor, so it's not very comfortable.
I know, you and your gypsy ways.
I know, yeah. Right. Okay, so
Today,
yeah.
another big guest. I mean, like,
Oh,
big. Like we're talking
literally
about,
big.
yeah. We got to discuss about if this size matters or not, like we were discussing earlier. Allison, we have today with us the planet Mars.
We do. We
Hi,
do.
Mars. Okay, lay it on us.
I just have to with Gaia and with Nibiru, I had to wait for them to rise up. I think I've got to do the same thing here as well. Let her come in. She's like, I'm ready.
So you mentioned before.
The,
Go ahead.
the funny thing for me is that they just sound like regular spirits, right? And I thought like that kind of throws me for six because what does a planet sound like?
Yeah, what does a planet sound